you need to know the different ways to do a live directed session, the different types of software you're gonna need. Most common, Zoom. That is the most common way to do a live directed session these days. Probably behind that is Microsoft Teams and Google Meets, and then Source Connect. There are other ways, but I'm not gonna jump into those right now. These are the 4 most common. Anyway, when you start using this software, make sure before you get into the live directed session that you've tested it to make sure that everything is set up correctly. The last thing you wanna do is leave it to the last minute. You wanna make sure that you've tested that you can hear sound coming from the other side of Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, or Source Connect, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about Source Connect in just a second. You wanna test that with a friend, or just by using the test button inside there, it'll play a sound so you can hear it in your headphones. Make sure that that's all ready to go. Make sure that it can record sound. Like, are you recording on your DAW, your digital audio workstation in your computer? If you don't know what that is, watch more of my videos, basic thing you need to know. And that your sound is also being registered across the platform that you're using to record a live directed session, whether it's Zoom, Google Meets, Microsoft Teams, or Source Connect, or any of the other ways that you can do it. Practice that script over and over and over. Now, depending on the size, you can do many different sizes of scripts. You know, I've done live directed sessions up to 3,000 words before. I don't recommend it. It takes a very long time. If you're doing that many words, you want to split it up into a couple sessions, but I've done it and I've read through that script at least a couple times before I jump into that session. Anything shorter than 1,000 words, I would read probably about 5 times. And you're searching the script for words and word combinations that are difficult for you to say, because the last thing you want to find out in a live directed session is that if you haven't practiced the whole script, that there's a section of it that's like a tongue twister. It's difficult for you to say. You want to work that out ahead of time, not in a live directed session. Trust me, it happened to me before. I almost had a panic attack. I had to get out of my booth and take a walk for a second and be like, okay, so I'll be back in a second. And then I went and cried in the mirror, and then I came back and got my shit together and got through it. First and only time that happened to me. And then after that, I practiced the shit out of every script I did. After you practice a whole bunch, you're pretty confident you can get through the script, no problem, without making a whole lot of mistakes. Next thing you wanna do, 5 to 10 minutes before you jump into the session, start recording on your computer. Do it before you're in. Make sure that you do it. Not only that you do it, but when you get into the live directed session, after you do the introduction, hey, how's it going? Good morning, and all that kind of stuff, tell them, hey, I'm just gonna go and check my levels. You're not checking your levels. You've already checked your levels to make sure, because you've prepared for the session, made sure everything's set up correctly. You've already checked your levels. What you're doing is saying that so that you can go to the computer and make sure that you're recording. I have once, only once, and a lot of people I know have done this, forgot to record in a live directed session. When you're doing it over Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or Google Meet, I'll get these one of these days, or anything other than Source Connect, but even with Source Connect, you wanna be recording locally on your end as well, because you're gonna send that file to them later on. Even in Source Connect, in case there's a dropout or something, they want your file too. Do not forget to record. I went through a whole session once and I forgot to record, and then I got out and I noticed it, I was like, no. So I had to email them and tell them that, hey, you gotta get the CEO of the company and everybody that doesn't have time to jump back on a session, reschedule it and redo it again. Luckily, they were super nice about it. We just jumped back in, and then, you know, we'd already had it worked out, but don't be me. Make sure that you're double checking. Record 5 minutes before you jump in, and then check to see it's recording once you're in.